so much for being here today. This is our 10th Innovate, which is so exciting. We, as you saw in the video, 10 years ago, we were in the Thompson Library reading room, and there were about 8 of us rearranging the furniture an hour before we started. So we've come a really long way, and I want to thank you. You are the community that make Innovate. And today is the day that we celebrate the work that you do supporting students and learning and trying new things in your classrooms. But I think Innovate is really, it's not about the day that we spend together today. It's about the things that you explore and that you talk about and you go back and try when you leave. And it's about the community that you all have become. There are almost 1,000 of you here today to really share and bring that teaching practice forward. So thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to ask you to take a minute to turn off or silence your many mobile devices. And it is my pleasure to introduce a leader whose commitment to elevating teaching and learning practice in higher education is driving an era of change at our university. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Michael V. Drake, President of The Ohio State University.
Thanks very much, Leave. I appreciate it. I loved your intro. It said, "Please rise and welcome." That was a nice way to have you come. Oh, never mind. I was just thinking. But great to see everyone here this morning, and also great to see the growth over this decade. This is a great conference, from a few people in the library to 1,000 people here today. It's really terrific. Some people are here from the Ohio State University. There are others who are not a part of the normal daily Ohio State University community. So can we give them a round of applause, please? Welcome. We'll teach you how to be a Buckeye. We'll have a little cheer. OH? Great. Sounds like everybody was a part of that. That's a wonderful thing. It's great for us as a university. We are approaching our 150th anniversary, our sesquicentennial, and we are thinking back a lot on who we are and why we were brought into being and what we are supposed to be doing and how we've done it over this last century and a half and what is to come. And innovation is an extraordinarily important part of what is to come for us. We have many things that are happening now that are terrific for us. We have new highs in the number of applications that we have. We've now gotten to a place where we have more than 50,000 applications for our freshman class every year. We have records in graduation rates. I know a year ago had about a 65% four-year graduation rate. Very high for a large public research university. We have 85% six-year graduation rate, so we're really among the nation's leaders in that. At the same time, we're also increasing our diversity. We've had an increase to 21% minority students in our current class, which is really, really terrific, and that's been really, really great. We're happy to see the increase in diversity, increase in excellence, and increase in success. We've also had great support from our community. We had records in donor support last year. Actually, 270,000 people contributed one way or another to our university, and that we really appreciate that. We've grown in programs. We have 25 new undergraduate programs and 50 new graduate programs over the last decade. So that's really, really terrific. And we have some special things that we're doing on the innovation front that we really are proud of, really like a lot. You'll see many of them today. I'll mention a couple. We have a thing that we call the President's Prize. It's an anonymous donor left money for us to be able to offer to graduating seniors some venture capital and then some support, a stipend support, to have them push forward an innovative idea to make the world a better place. And we've done this now for 3 years. There have been wonderful prize winners each of those years, and it's an incredible program. This year's prize winners, we had Zach Graber was one of the prize winners, and his project is one to try over a 5-year period to redirect 50% of the waste produced in central Ohio away from landfills. So he's really into, well, that's one person applauding. That we'll say. Zach's mom here in the front. We appreciate your support. But I'm with Zach's mom. I think it's a great program, looking to compost more, looking to recycle more, and to try to divert waste from landfill. And then Christian McGee is creating a transition center for youth who have been either incarcerated or homeless, who find themselves really on a pathway to a life that doesn't have much success in it, to try to transition them early back into pathways that produce more success over time. And we've had wonderful programs in food security and programs to help decrease the impact of the opioid addiction crisis, programs to help provide opportunities for people with disabilities to participate in and appreciate the wonders of astronomy, a great program. So wonderful things that are meant to try to make our world a better place, and that's terrific. As a university, we have a new strategic plan that we initiated and was approved by our board in 2017. How many of you here have been involved in an organization that has had a strategic plan of one kind or another? That's great. How'd that go for you? Okay, I will say strategic plans, there are three things that happen with strategic plans. They wildly exceed their goals. That's happened. They fall very far short of their goals, or they're somewhere midland, or they're the place on the bookcase where the next strategic plan goes. We worked really, really hard to put together a strategic plan that we expect to be successful with. We believe that it's going to transform our university, and actually we're seeing now in its second year that transformational change is underway. We're very excited about it. There's several things that it focuses on. I'm going to stress a couple of them here today because they're relevant to the work that you do and that we're thinking about today. So one thing that our strategic plan focuses on is access, affordability, and excellence. So access, that's access to the university. We're thinking largely of students there. There's affordability, and we're thinking largely of students and their families there. And then excellence, and we believe in excellence in everything that we do. Having access to something that's not affordable, or access to something that's affordable and not outstanding, is not a great value. So we want to make sure that it's access, affordability, and excellence in all the ways that we're moving forward. And we link in these endeavors with our founding principles and founding mission at the time we came into being in 1870. Just some quick examples on access, affordability, and excellence. For affordability and excellence, we introduced the Buckeye Opportunity Program this last fall, and that means that if you are at the median income of the state of Ohio, roughly a Pell Grant eligible student, then we will cover any gap in your tuition that comes from the grants that you bring to us. And so your effective tuition for, if you're the middle or lower half of the income distribution, your effective tuition is zero. So that's a good thing. It's actually a really good thing. We're really proud of that. That was Zach's mom and many others were applauding that, and I appreciate that. So that's one thing we've done for affordability, and we've seen actually that the percentage of our student body graduating with debt has gone down from 57% 4 years ago to 52% in our most recent data. So it's going down. We're seeking 49.99. So we're at 57 to 52. So the percentage of our students graduating with debt has gone down. And very nicely, these last 2 years, the amount of debt per student has also gone down while it's continued to go up. In the country, we hit our crest slightly below the national average, and now we're going down while the national average is going up. So we're very pleased about that. So fewer students graduating with debt, and those students who are graduating with debt are graduating with less debt. That's great. At the same time, these last 2 years, we've had an increase in the number of Pell Grant eligible students that we've admitted. So we've had an increase in students with need, but a decrease in students graduating with debt, and a decrease in the amount of debt that those students have had. So that's great. We're very, very pleased about that, and all told, in the last since 2015, we've added an additional $150 million to need-based aid, and that aid has been distributed to 32,000 students and their families, and we really are pleased about the thrilled at the opportunity to make that difference, and want to continue making that difference as we move forward. Another thing that we focused on this during our strategic plan this last year in particular is a new program to improve, to support the quality of teaching and learning that happens on our campus. We were pleased a couple years ago to be cited by U.S. News. I quote U.S. News when I like what they say, and most of the time I will tell you to ignore them. But when they get it right, we'll quote that. So I will say that we were ranked 8th among publics and 17th among all universities for our commitment to undergraduate education a couple of years ago. That's great. What we wanted to do with that, though, is to make it even better, and so we initiated a new program for teaching and learning support that has 3 components. The first component is a self-assessment for faculty to be able to look at their teaching styles and compare their teaching styles with others. Very straightforward and simple. Many people here have done that. I've done it. It was great. And then we have teaching modules to at least make sure that our faculty are acquainted with the best practices, the proven best practices for teaching and learning improvement in the classroom. And then third, we have the opportunity for faculty to have individual coaching and course redesign with our professionals. This just started in the fall of last year, and thus far about 3,000 faculty have done the self-assessment. We're really thrilled about that. That's a lot. Out of about 4,700 eligible faculty for this, about 3,000 have taken the time to do the self-assessment. Terrific. About 1,100 have done part 2, the modules of teaching and learning, to help guide us to be better, and we think those numbers are going to go up over the summer when faculty are out of the classroom and have a time to focus. And then just starting this past spring, or this, I guess it's still spring, so just starting this spring, we are looking at the number of faculty who are able to actually sign up for the professional development programs. And we think these things are important because there are great data that show that good teaching matters always. Better teaching is always better. That's a good thing. But particularly for students who are marginal, and I don't mean marginal in any way other than sort of literally they're the first in their family to go to college, or they come from backgrounds where they have to work extra time, or other things like that, that good teaching makes a real difference for them. Good teaching can really help those students who are really pioneers in their careers, can help those students to move forward, and not good teaching really can be a barrier to them. And so we're really interested, as we are working to have more access, to bring a broader group of students to us, to create a pathway for them to be successful, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help them be successful. And that's something we're very, very pleased about. I would say that I teach a freshman seminar, and I teach differently now than I did 5 years ago. The entire course now is on an iPad. The material we give to students is all on the iPad. Everything they send back to us is on the iPad. Our feedback to them, our written feedback, is all on the iPad, so it's terrific, and it's been a great way to exchange information, share it, and we hope do an even better job of teaching. And I've been able to use some of the things learned in the modules, and I'm going to hope that some of those of you who are here in the audience who've done this can share examples with your colleagues of things that you learned during the teaching modules and the teaching support program to change the way you were teaching your classes, and we've enjoyed that very much. You know, as our classes and our campus evolves to face the future, we know that if we're going to continue to be on the cutting edge, we have to continue to change. And we know that the jobs of the future are jobs that in many cases don't exist now, or the jobs that many of us here are doing now are different than the jobs we were doing 5 or 10 years ago, or certainly than the jobs that we thought we'd be doing when we left college, and really our careers have gone in ways that we hadn't imagined. And I think that's going to be the way of the future, and for us to be able to prepare students for that, we have to allow them to continue to be adaptable and to be able to innovate themselves. We believe that this Innovate conference is critically important for just that reason, so we can share ideas and make ourselves help ourselves continue to be the most innovative university that we can be. And we want to bridge the gap between our knowledge today and the knowledge that's necessary tomorrow, the gap between our instructors and our students, the gap between whatever gap exists between our university and the communities that we serve. We want to really bring those things all together, because that is the way that we will be successful. We've been really pleased at the results of our university over this 150 years. I was talking yesterday to a group, and we were just talking about the impact of the university, and we used these numbers. We said, gosh, the university, we have about 48,000 employees of one kind or another during a year, but we're responsible for 123,000 jobs in and around Central Ohio. We're responsible for over $15 billion a year of economic impact. And if you were to imagine Central Ohio, imagine Columbus without the Ohio State University, you'd have an entirely different place. And we're really proud of that. We were brought into being to make that be true, to elevate the quality of life for our community, and then through our research and the teaching that we spread around the world to try to elevate the quality of life for people around the world. And we believe we've done a reasonable job of doing that, and our interest is continuing to do the best job we can of that as we move forward. So your participation helping us to do that, the work that you do every day, and those things you're going to do in the future are the things that are going to make our future bright. I want to thank you also very much for being here today. Let me congratulate you on 10 years of Innovate and say, go Bucks.
My 6-year-old daughter actually, when I told her I was introducing the president today, she was like, the president! And I was like, not that president. So let's talk for a minute about who is in the room today. There are 950 attendees. More than 300 of you are faculty. You represent 184 institutions and organizations, including Penn State, Arizona State, Florida, Michigan, Tennessee, and many, many more. 50% of you, more than 50% of you, are returning attendees. And I think this number may be a little bit low, but there are at least 4 of us in the room who have been to all 10 Innovates. Can those people please stand up? Justin, Anand, Hooker, Andy. All right, so that's who we are by the numbers. We're going to take just a minute and let you all introduce yourselves to each other. And when I say minute, I actually mean 10 seconds a person. So when I say go, you're going to find somebody near you. You are going to tell them your name and one thing you are excited about in 10 seconds. That's 1/6 of a minute, just to be clear. We don't always get that right. And then your partner, you're going to switch, and then they will have 10 seconds. So you can go ahead and go. All right, so thank you so much for sharing some of the things that you all are excited about today. We also know that some of you have other feelings because you share them very candidly with us in your surveys at the end of every year. And so here's some of what we heard from you last year. You wanted more Imaginarium sessions, more breakout sessions. You wanted us to build an app, more chairs, more protein, less carbs, less dry bread, less thick bread, less keynotes, less depressing keynote, and less sandwiches with jelly. So we worked really hard. We have an amazing committee, and they put together a program today that is bringing you more Imaginarium sessions, more breakout sessions. We built an app. There are more rooms with more chairs, more protein, less dry bread, less thick bread, less keynotes, and less sandwiches with jelly. So, great job, thank you. We do take your feedback seriously. I didn't want to say that you asked it not to be cold in here because I was afraid it would be freezing again and I didn't want to draw your attention to it, but you asked for it not to be cold and it's warmer, so that's also great. So, none of this would be possible without our amazing sponsors, and I want to take a moment to thank in particular our good friends at Herman Miller who have been such wonderful partners this year. They are our advocate sponsor for Innovate. We could never do, in fact, we actually can't pay for this conference. Even with our vendor sponsors, we have to put a lot of our own money out of our own pockets into it. But this is a huge, huge part of what makes you be able to eat today, so that is great. And these are all of our contributing sponsors. Let's thank them, please. All right, so this is our 10th year, which is very, very exciting, and I want to take just a minute to thank those of you who so generously took to Twitter yesterday to share your Innovate props and your love for our programs. It was totally overwhelming, and I had just decided to do a digital detox and taken Twitter off my phone, which was somewhat poorly timed, but I was in our social event, and then there was this big, huge screen, and it just started lighting up with tweets, which was unbelievable, and thank you for that. And I also want to say that is one way to put a lot of pressure on a person who's going to speak the next day. And so, Alexis and Amanda, I did go back to the office and I drank that LaCroix and I ate some of the food off your desk because I was there for a while last night, so I will replace that. And mostly though, I really want to say thank you. You all are amazing. And I also want to take a moment as a group to thank Victoria Geddes, who is now at Northwestern, who was the original vision behind Innovate, and it was her commitment to bringing community together to share ideas that started this conference. So thank you so much, Vicki. All right, so what was happening 10 years ago? Netflix was starting to move away from its originally convenient model of mailing DVDs directly to our homes so we could watch them immediately. Angry Birds had been launched. Ohio State beat Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Woo! And all the single ladies won 3 Grammys. Yes, it did. Now, what was happening here at Ohio State's campus? Thank you very much. Okay, we were using physical clickers. They loved, look how happy, they loved them, those physical. They were $35 a pop. We were still using overhead projectors, may they rest in peace. We had to wrestle these out of some of your hands. We were celebrating and exploring the possibilities of Second Life. And we had a tagline for Innovate e-learning in action. And that awesome logo. So great, that was really exciting. And we have come a really long way in 10 years. 10 years ago, I was kind of appalled, honestly. When I saw this, we ran 2 learning tools. We had an LMS and a wiki. That was what we did. We now run 15 free enterprise learning tools: Top Hat, Turnitin, MediaSite, Carmen, Canvas, Lab, Archives, and coming soon, Zoom video conferencing. We have, yes, that's really exciting. We're excited about that. 30 flexible learning classrooms and training for faculty who use them. We have 5 digital unions and a collection of very exciting programs I want to dig into a little bit more today. So here's what we have been working on: the Affordable Learning Exchange. This is a really exciting partnership with the libraries, the Institute for Teaching and Learning, Undergraduate Student Government, and the Office of Academic Affairs, in which we do a range of strategies, including Carmen Books. This is a digital textbook program in partnership with Unison that offers students up to 80% off of the cost of print textbooks. We have, through our pilots, already reached 11,000 students in 32 courses and have saved students just in pilots $1 million, which we're very excited about. Thank you. Jenny Babcock is a faculty member in social work, and she found her students, like many of you, asking if it was possible to do well in her class without buying the book, which is not a question any of our students should have to ask. And she piloted Carmen Books. She is committed to making her course and her department more affordable and accessible to all students. In addition, we run a grants program that helps faculty reimagine their course materials and their actual pedagogy, with a goal of making learning better and more affordable. Through a program funded by the WOW Internet and Cable Company, we have funded 70 projects across more than 25 departments on all 6 of our campuses, reaching more than 20,000 students, reaping $5.5 million in savings, and we expect to hit $8.5 million in the coming academic year. This is not just books. This is also the opportunity to create lending libraries of materials and art supplies and scraps, also saving students significant amounts of money. All right, many of us think of the Big Ten as an athletic rivalry, but this year we launched the Big Ten Student Design Challenge, in which students from across the Big Ten redesigned an informal learning space on their campus and then competed to win a national prize of $80,000 worth of Herman Miller furniture to build that space on their own campus. Who won, you ask? It was our very own Ohio State students, Kalia Todd, Tyler Hatton, and Heyman Park. This is early version of their drawing, and what they said is this is usually when they are done, when they turn in their project, and that's the end. And for them, this is the beginning now, and they'll get to see students actually using and interacting in the design that they will build this fall. Now, thanks to the tremendous work of departments across Ohio State, our online graduate nursing program is #1 among public institutions. Our online bachelor's, yes, thank you. Well, that deserves a round. Our online bachelor's program is #3 in the nation, and we have 35 online programs through the leadership of Rob Griffiths, the distance ed team, and our amazing Ohio State faculty. Thank you. This is Jennifer Mckinnon. She grew up in Northern Ohio, and while she settled in Alaska, which is kind of what it felt like here on Monday, she had a childhood dream of attending Ohio State. And thanks to the online Doctor of Nursing program, her dream became a reality. Jennifer won a campus contest, actually, before she graduated, to come here and celebrate the fact that she was still alive after getting her PhD in Alaska and raising 4 teenagers, 3 of whom are pictured here. So great job, Jennifer. And Dr. Bob Weber is committed to bringing real-world experience into his online course. He runs an activity where students are dropped into a virtual hurricane in Florida, making decisions to assure quality care during the storm. His students are really motivated by these real-world challenges that prepare them for future career readiness. As Dr. Drake mentioned, in partnership with the University Institute for Teaching and Learning, ODEE assisted in the development of Teaching at Ohio State. This is a beautifully produced and very informative online course that connects participants to teaching perspectives, evidence-based practice, and the wealth of resources available to educators at Ohio State. More than 1,200 instructors have completed this course, and Kyle Ezel was first introduced to online learning through this course. He was impressed, and after taking a workshop, completely revamped his land development planning course in the Knowlton School of Architecture, flipping his content and using active learning strategies in class. And finally, in a new initiative launched this year to help students learn digital literacy, creative production, principles of coding and app development, using common free technology, in our first year, we delivered almost 11,500 free pieces of technology to all incoming first-year students. There were 2,700 unique students in courses designed specifically to use that technology in learning. Less than 2% of all of these were lost, stolen, or damaged. And in any given 24-hour period, 90% of those iPads are active. Really exciting news, we just heard from Dr. Melissa Beers, who is here somewhere. And there she is. Missy's awesome. She is the program director for Intro to Psych. I'm going to let you applaud in a minute because you'll have really something to applaud about. And she assessed over 1,000 students this spring, more than half of whom had iPads. And 93% said the iPad was easy for them to use. 87% said the iPad helped them to be more organized. And 85% said it has improved their learning experience at Ohio State. So thank you so much, Missy, for that. This is Daniel Matar, who put his coding skills to work to design an app, an augmented reality app in Orton Hall Geological Museum that brings the Cryolophosaurus to life, and, doesn't help you pronounce it, but it did land him an internship at Apple this summer where he is continuing to develop his skills. And finally, we trained 310 faculty members through the Digital Flagship Educators Cohort with face-to-face, in-depth pedagogy training. There were 75 areas, colleges, and departments across the university involved, and 95% of those who participated felt that this had a positive impact on the student experience in their classrooms. This is Max, who is an academic advisor at Ohio State Newark. And he uses an app we built called Ohio State Discover to help students plan their degree programs and make sure that they can make their way easily through their major and minor requirements. Thank you, Max. This year, we are launching a free coding certification program for students, faculty, and staff. We are launching a mobile design lab, which you'll have a chance to check out today. And we are doing work that I'm particularly proud of, which is partnering with students and clinical professionals at the university to develop an app with Apple to support student mental health. So now, let's talk for a minute about why we do this work. We do this work, all of us, for our students. We do this to ensure that more students can access a better education, that they can graduate with less debt, that they can create lives and relationships that are meaningful, and they can graduate as informed and active citizens. When our students graduate, they need more than the knowledge of their disciplines. They need to have the experience of applying that knowledge to solve complex problems. They need to know how to promote the ethical use of technology and information, to address the challenges of climate change, to create greater opportunities for justice and equality in our communities. This is what our students want, and it's what they're already doing. Let's listen to what they have to say.
For Tech Hub, my proposal was to add a carbon dioxide sensor so that when a viewer's breath is detected, the sensor triggers a peristaltic pump, which begins dripping black walnut ink and a viewer will take a booklet and hold it underneath and collect a drip that was created with their breath. One of the benefits to working within art and technology is that it bridges a lot of gaps. It doesn't seem surprising to me at all that artists would want to incorporate that and explore that within their work.
So just getting a real perspective from people who use this every day, who see the ins and outs of it, is really important, and those are the people who you're supposed to be designing for, so it just makes sense. I'm so excited to see the space in December. I'll get to bring people to see the space. That's going to be an unreal feeling, and this whole experience probably won't hit me until we see the space.
I'm learning so many professional skills that I wouldn't have learned just from my coursework that's apart from my major, apart from what I've been learning in classes. And within all of the student mentors, they really push asking us for our opinions and how to make the university better for students. And I've been able to be a part of a handful of decisions, which is really awesome. Like, I didn't know that my small opinion could make a change, but like, it really does.
Let's give a round of applause to those students. We will have the opportunity to hear from many more students today. And now I have just a few notes before we launch into our morning keynote. First, if you want to download the app, you can go to innovateu.osu.edu on your phone and then click to the mobile area, and there are instructions on how to download that app. We encourage you to visit the Imaginarium in the cartoon room and the third floor. There are so many exciting projects, so give yourself some time up there today. We also want to ask you to take a few moments to check out the Mobile Design Lab. Let's hear from Corey, who's out there now.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Mobile Design Lab. We're excited to be here outside the Union today, so please stop by. Here in the Mobile Design Lab, we'll be talking about Swift Playgrounds and Xcode and our coding curriculum we're offering through Digital Flagship, and about the bus itself, about design thinking in the app development process and how students, faculty, and staff can utilize the bus across all of our campuses. So thanks, and please stop by and have a great day at Innovate.